So Southern Nuclear, if anyone is not familiar with it, Southern Nuclear is a subsidiary of Southern Company. We're located in Birmingham, Alabama, and we have our nuclear power plant sites at Plant Farley, which is outside of Dothan, Alabama, at Plant Vogel outside of Augusta, Georgia, and also at Plant Hatch outside of Vidalia and Baxley. And what I wanted to do today is just kind of give you our story, talk to you about what we've been doing at Southern Nuclear to do just what the presentation says, to digitize our workforce with wearable technology. Now, as you can see, I have on a RealWear HMT1 device, and currently we are piloting about 35 of these devices throughout our fleet. And that goes for our maintenance department, operations department, engineering, radiation protection, chemistry, pretty much every business line organization that we have is currently interested in, and we're piloting this product. So you'll kind of get to see a video demonstration of some of the pilot activities we've done and just kind of our journey and where we started at. So just in case you're thinking about deploying a device such as this will be just some of the pointers and some of the things that I ran into, including some of the pros and some of the cons. So wearables, pretty much we're at AWE. So everybody knows what a wearable device is. But within the nuclear power organization that I work for, we actually had to go out and do a little bit of education as to what wearable technology is. Now, everybody knows, you know, we all wear wearables. We all use wearable technology on a daily basis. We track our steps. We see what the weather is. But we actually had to go out and do a little bit of education and talk about what wearables were and also how wearable technologies work and how they're used. Something else that was very important for Southern Nuclear is the ease of use of the device along with the hands-free portion of it. Increase operational efficiency, reduce costs. Number one for us was to improve and enhance safety. Now, there are a lot of safety events and human performance errors that take place in all business entities, but at the nuclear organizations that we work for, reducing those events is the number one priority, and ensuring that when you go to work in the morning, you come home safe to your family at night. The third aspect of the importance of wearable technology, enhanced communication internally. Peer-to-peer communication is something that's very, very important to us. If an issue happens on a certain system within the plant, that engineering department, that system engineer, has to then contact the operations department, who has to then contact the maintenance department to go out and go investigate the issue. Well, what if we could do that in a faster manner? So why now? I put this in there because why now is the mobility aspect, being able to provide a higher value and have a competitive advantage in logistics, manufacturing, and engineering. So that's why we're focused on it right now, because we have increased mobility. One statistic from the University of London, I just like to read it straight up. Employees equipped with wearable technology do what? An 8.5% increase in productivity and a 3.5% increase in job satisfaction. So pretty much what does that mean? That means that when you have cool toys to play with, people have fun. You know, people like to have fun. People like to play with toys. People like to do things. But this is clear data, clear statistics, clear metrics that show that this is the right time right now for our company to become more mobile. And we just heard our last presenter, Angelo, he talked about this, telepresence. Typically, when you think about telepresence, you think about putting individuals from one location in contact with individuals to another location, and that's what we're doing right now. We're increasing our telepresence. There's a major project that's going on at our sites right now to increase the amount of internet availability and Wi-Fi access that we have, and that goes across the entire board. So more wireless access points equal more opportunity for us to expand and create this telepresence. And what I wanted to show was just basically just talk about some of the use cases that we've had. So mobile merged reality, which is a mixture of augmented reality and what we actually see. We've been doing one pilot activity with a program called Help Lightning. Some of the other vendors we work with, Jujotech, you may have seen them, a booth for Jujotech in the exhibit hall. We've also worked with PTC We've also worked with ABB, and these are some of the ones that we're investigating right now during our pilot activities. And I have video. These are just some pictures from some outage support. So I can just talk through this for just a second. So we were in something called the Maintenance Support Center. So during an outage, a maintenance or a refueling outage at a nuclear power plant, what takes place is you have a certain amount of work orders and you have the plant to shut down. And during that shutdown, there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of maintenance activities that take place. Well, this room that we were in is called the Maintenance Support Center. So what we did was we set up a kiosk in the Maintenance Support Center in order to pilot for about 2 days just using the HMT1 device and a peer-to-peer communication application. And it was a wonderful experience. We were able to go to many different locations in the plant. To the far right, we're in the basement level of the turbine building at Plant Farley. Here we're in the mechanical maintenance war room. So in the mechanical maintenance war room, work orders are coming in, issues are coming in, and your mechanical maintenance supervisors are dealing with those issues in real time. And so I was able to place some of the HMT1s on some of the mechanical maintenance workers who were out in the field, and myself and this individual here, a guy named Joseph, we were at the Maintenance Support Center providing support on a peer-to-peer communication basis. This is just a screenshot from inside of the HMT1. So we were on Unit 2. This is the work order we were working on. We were working on the 2 alpha heater drain pump. And all this was an inspection of an area that we found. So of course you can see that's an annotation that we had of that heater drain pump. And we were investigating to see whether or not it needed to be repaired or replaced. And again, this was their first time using the HMT1 device. And this is the first time that the company has ever even done anything like this during an outage in real time. Well, what else did we do? Well, subject matter expert support and troubleshooting. This individual at the time was in Birmingham, Alabama. And as you can see, Joseph and I were, again, in the turbine building at Farley. And this was just the simple use case of doing a peer-to-peer phone call. So just a peer-to-peer call to Mark. Mark is a subject matter expert for maintenance training. Mark, we got a question. We had a really good connection, so it was a really reliable connection that we had at the bottom level, the basement floor of the turbine building, and we were just demonstrating that we could call a remote expert. And I have a video that's going to play, and I'll kind of narrate as it's playing. But in this video, we were out at Plant Vogel. So you know the first new construction of nuclear in a number of years is taking place right now at Vogel 3 and 4. I was out at Vogel 1 and 2 at this time, and we were going out to go, and I was going to basically use something called a JPR, or a job performance measure. So within operations, job performance measures are some of the requirements that take place for operators to be able to go out and perform certain tasks in the plant. And during this job performance measure, there was a subject matter expert that was going to be giving me direction inside of my HMT1. And I was going to theoretically go out and start something called a diesel fire pump number 2. If the video doesn't play, then that's fine. I got screenshots from it just in case this happens. So within the videos, you can see I made it to the diesel fire pump. The individual, the operator who was in my ear, was giving me instructions on what levers to pull. He was using the annotation piece inside of the application, and I was just identifying different parts. So at the top right-hand corner in my viewfinder, what I could see was the procedure steps, and we were going through and checking off each procedure step. And what he could see was what I was showing him directly. So I was ensuring that I was on the right train. I was ensuring I was at the right piece of equipment. And before I actually started the pump, which I did not do actually, I just acted like I was pulling the lever. He made mention that his first time performing this evolution, he failed it 5 times. I am not an operator, and I passed it my first go with the HMT1 device. So it was a really, really remarkable test that we were able to do. All right, so some additional use cases. Safety for hazard identification, our safety training and our safety coordinator. For new trainees and new hirees that come in, Safety, one of the safety classes is one of the first classes they have to go through in something called New Employee Orientation, or NEO. And so doing hazard identification with an HMT1 device, going out and showing students in real time how to identify hazards, how to identify trouble situations, pre-job briefs, allowing individuals to see during the pre-job brief videos or previous inspections and previous walkdowns that have taken place. That's all included. The second one I put in there was ops surveillance and maintenance inspections, which is basically video peer-to-peer communication or observations of work that's taking place. We have something called issue response teams at Southern Nuclear. So when an issue comes up, immediately an IRT, or an issue response team, is formed. A war room is then brought up or built, and the individuals are going and trying to do live support and live troubleshooting. So what we're trying to do now is equip each one of those IRTs or war rooms with an HMT1 device. And that goes through our engineering department, operations, and maintenance. And so we're going to do that. One of the key ones when you think about nuclear, this radiation protection. I met with all the RP managers at the sites, and they are really interested in trying to reduce dose or exposure to radiological areas within the nuclear power plants. And some areas are what we would call, or we title them as being high rad areas, or you're going to pick up a lot of radiation exposure in those areas. Well, what if we can send an individual in with an HMT1 during an evolution that's infrequently performed or frequently performed evolution, where normally it would take 2 to 3 to 4 individuals. Obviously, we see that instead of exposing 3, 4, 5 people to radiation, we can expose 1, and we can really reduce that, which would definitely be something that would get the attention of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the NRC, and also all of our RP teams at each of our sites to reduce the amount of exposure that our employees would face. And then the last one I put in there, emergency preparedness. We do multiple drills all the time for emergent situations that could happen at a nuclear power plant. You think Fukushima, you think some of the things that have happened over time. Being able to go and being able to practice with an HMT1 and then record some of those drills and that drill execution is definitely something that we're interested in doing as a company to prepare further individuals who are in the EP department, and also to make sure that we are tested and ready for an emergent situation, and just in case it actually ever does come. All right. And so basically, just to finish out our story before I get to questions, is that right now we're in a really good place. Our innovation group has been stood up now for about 2 years, 2.5 years. I work on digitizing our field workers. My counterpart, she works on data analytics, looking at data and trying to use data in a faster way. Anything from robotics, drone activity, 3D and laser scanning activities. These are a number of things that we're working on right now. So our group is expanding. But if you are interested in putting together an innovation and technology group, I would definitely recommend that you do so at your company, or that you do so because it is something that has definitely been a benefit to us as a company to have this group. When different business organizations and line organizations come up to us and ask us to go and help them investigate a use case, it's something that we can go out and do. We can devote time to doing it if they can't do it. I like to say that we build a lot of bridges within our company, and definitely try to improve communication as well within our company when it comes to these sort of subjects. A lot of times people may not want to ask questions. They want to go down a pathway. But before you go down that pathway and meet a dead end, then we are kind of a bridge organization that can assist you in getting to your goal and finding solutions for issues. So if you have that within your companies, feel free, reach out to us. We like to benchmark a lot. Benchmarking is something that nuclear power, we have no problem doing. You know, if something works, then we don't mind reaching out and finding out how to use it ourselves. So with that, that's the end of my presentation. If there are any questions, that'd be great.